the Dale City Eagles Coaches Show with Cody Sparks, head coach Mike Dunn, and special guests. Brought to you by Gregory Sporting Goods, Nightfall Haunted Territory, and Redline Jiu-Jitsu. Coach Mike Dunn appears courtesy of Mid-Dale and their sponsors, First National Bank, Oklahoma Sports and Orthopedics, Rose State College, Hudeberg, Select PT, Professional Recyclers, Raising Cane's, Safari Dental, Buffalo Wild Wings, Black Bear Diner, First Point Insurance, Papa John's, Triple Elite, Marco's Pizza, and Whataburger. Here's your host, Cody Sparks.
Hello and welcome to the Dale City Eagles Coaches Show, and joined by multiple coaches today. We've got head coach Mike Dunn, your football coach here at Dale City, and also our basketball coach Lenny Hatchett here with us, and we'll be visiting him with a little bit about when basketball is getting started and some other things going on with the basketball program. But first off, we got to mention it's Duncan week, and not just that, it's homecoming. Homecoming, and time to just fill your heart with that Eagle spirit and just let it go. It's time to eagle up, most certainly. And we will be talking about all the fun things you have going on here at the school for that. I know you mentioned some of the teachers dressed as superheroes today.
Superhero, yes. Today's superhero day. Yesterday we had an athlete versus athlete, so a lot of us went as both. I went Under Armour hoodie with what was under Star Wars? Star Wars underneath.
Gotcha.
So I'm a Star Wars dork nerd, I guess. Yeah, today superhero. I've got the Batman under. Coach Hatchett's rocking the Batman too. We coordinated today, so
well, that's good.
Big week. Big week.
Now this speaking of big weeks, this past week headed down to Lawton again, the Cameron Stadium, the Zoo Amphitheater of football stadiums, and I'm sure you had a lovely bus ride down.
Yeah.
Somewhere about the time I'm guessing you came out for warm-ups, it started just a little sprinkle.
A little bit, yeah, here and there, yeah. I guess it really started about 10 minutes before the game started, really. I mean, we got through warm-ups, we got through the pregame stuff, got through the bus ride there, but as soon as we got there on the field, it dumped. I mean, for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, didn't stop till the fourth quarter, but you know, we were ready for it. We practiced in it, so we don't go inside when it rains. We go inside if it's lightning, if there's a threat. But if it's rain, we stay out there.
Yeah, so. no lightning at all. Yeah. Plenty of rain, buckets of it. Of course, the Highlanders of Lawton Mac, the opponents, and a big game. You lit the scoreboard up, 44-31 final.
Yep.
And it was there even till the end. It was still a pretty close game.
It was, yeah. We a little uncharacteristic of us. Our defense, we didn't play very well. You know, and we played well in the first half. We busted some things though, and you know there was lots of things to fix once we actually did watch the film afterwards. But you know, our offense bailed us out big time and had a really big night, which is something we've been really pushing for. You know, the last 3 or 4 weeks we've been practicing hard and trying to figure out what we could do best. And I think we found some things that we're pretty good at. So you know, we had 662 yards, or something like that. Total 662. We threw for 360 and rushed for the rest of it. So it was great. It was a good night. It was fun.
And a lot of big, what we'd call a home run plays.
Yes, yeah. That's one thing we've always thought we could have. We've got the guys, we've got the capability, you know, and we've got an offensive line that once they all get on the same page and all 5 of those guys are clicking like they were last week is going to be really good. So, you know, they've put together 2 weeks of great practice leading up to that game. You know, we put together another good one yesterday, and guys are getting better every day. We're pushing them hard, and you know, the big play capability is something that's going to always be there for us when you got guys like Isaac Beverly and Jeff Foreman, and our quarterback came along this week and had a really good game. And you know, Ty Smester's always, you know, he's one guy away from
the long
breaking
run.
long ones.
Yeah, man.
2 weeks in a row, he's busted some big ones. So.
Energizer Bunny. He just keeps going and going down the field and just doesn't stop.
Yep.
Now, some of the names he mentioned there, Coach Hatchett, I know will be coming over and joining you when basketball season starts.
That's correct. We've got a good group of kids that'll come from us from football. Isaac Beverly will be one of them. Jeff Foreman, Anthony Goodlow, and then some other guys out there, Kobe Higgins and Kyron Williams. Those all 5 of those guys had varsity experience last year, so we're excited about when they get there. But they know I'm just as supportive as football, and I want them to go get this gold ball. I'm out there at every game, and I encourage those guys to be the best out there in football. And when we get them, they'll be ready.
Well, at least you'll know they'll be in shape.
Oh, yeah, they'll be in shape, and when they get to us, they'll be in better shape.
Some of the other names that we want to mention there, I know you mentioned Quinlan Ganther had a great day at quarterback. I think he may even be in the running for the
Player of the Week.
Player of the Week, yeah.
The Daily Oklahoman, they actually, the staff, they picked him as the Player of the Week, and then they put the rest of it for fans to go vote, I guess. But they wrote an article about him yesterday. I think it was in this morning or last night at some point, but it was a really good article. He was 15 of 19 passing, so almost perfect. In the article, I said something about his pre-snap reads were pretty much perfect. I mean, he put the ball where it needed to be. He looked out there, saw his matchups. He saw where he had grass and where to throw the ball. So he did an unbelievable job for just his second start as a sophomore. Going to Lawton against Lawton Mac, who's a top 5 program year in, year out, it seems like, and going there to Cameron, and always a hostile environment when you're playing those guys. Hey, they had a great student section out there getting rowdy, but he kept them quiet because it was big play after big play after big play, and a lot of that had to do with him. So he threw 4 touchdowns. He actually rushed for one, and real big night for Quinlan. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, he was having a good time. And I have to speak of the Lawton Mac crowd. At one point, I think their team had done something that wasn't necessarily great. And I think somebody in the stands had a boom box and was literally playing No Scrubs by TLC and would play other songs during
That's different.
That was a different bunch.
That's different.
Yeah. I was like, well, that's unique. We haven't seen that. So, but they certainly they were out there to play and have some athletes on that end of the ball. But
they do.
And to Quinlan's credit too, the ball was wet most of the game there, so completing passes in the rain.
Sure, like I said, it rained on Wednesday. Most people are going to go walk through on the Wednesday before a Thursday night game. We don't walk through. We go out there and actually go through. It's a lighter practice, but we're in full pads, and it rained for the entire hour and 20 minutes we were out there. But I made sure, we did all. I mean, I bet we ran 60 offensive plays, and we threw the ball a bunch, and it was with a wet ball. I didn't have, like at the game, we keep our balls pretty dry. But, at practice, we had them wet for a reason, just in case, And so we're out there throwing a wet ball, and we threw and catch pretty well on Wednesday. So we felt like, we'll get out there, we'll take care of our footballs, and we'll actually be able to throw a dry ball. So it worked out. They were ready for it.
Great. The again, a very exciting game. 44-31, the final. Goodlow looked like he was having a pretty good game out there as well.
He did. I wish I had the point total here. I think by the end of the game he had, I want to say, on our point production chart, close to 70 points or something. I mean, so he actually did a lot of good things. He was around the football quite a bit. He didn't play as much offensively this week, so I think he was a little more fresh on defense. And we sent him a bunch, got him on the edge, got him after the quarterback. That's what he does best is kind of disrupt back there, and he's getting better every single week at doing that and unleashing that big 6'4", 230-pound body, because before this year he's been a guy that backpedaled every play. He was out covering people. And so this is new for him to actually come off the edge and stop the run. And every week you'll see he's getting better at just going and wrecking havoc back there.
I did notice the guy over there on the end having to get his hands out a little farther to keep a hold of Goodlow.
I wish the refs would have noticed that a little bit more. But
they didn't seem to notice. It happened about every single play.
Yeah. They weren't having it.
I know you and I had talked about that fourth quarter. Though it had stopped raining, but it went. There's just a lot of scoring, and it seemed like it took forever to get out of there with the win.
That was the biggest problem. There was too much scoring. It was a credit to us, our offense. We kept matching their scores, but defensively we got to go and put the nail in the coffin at some point. And we took way too long to do that. I think we finally got the fourth down stop when there was maybe 3 minutes left in the game, but up until that point, I mean, it was they'd score, we'd score, they'd score, we scored, and in the midway through the third and fourth, I bet there was 28. I mean, almost 35 points scored between the two of us. So, would rather put the foot on the throat a little bit sooner. In these next ones, not allow that to happen again. But anytime you get out with a win in a district like this, you're grateful. So we never get mad about a win.
No, and I'm sure you can understand the up and down as a basketball coach. You kind of got to just gear for it and be ready for those last couple of minutes of the game, and
definitely
know that it may go the other way real quick.
No, definitely, I definitely understand that.
Some other things we have mentioned. It is homecoming, and as we move on, or before we move on, really to Duncan, you did lay some stats on me. We want to mention a few of your top performers this season, and you've got the defensive ones there. We've got the offensive as well. We can start with those. Everybody loves the offense. Yeah. Put the
sells tickets.
Put the people in the stands. The Quinlan Ganther and both Jared Wood. Quinlan's got 4 touchdowns passing on the season, and Jared Wood with 5. And I know Quinlan rushed one in this past weekend, so he's doing work on both ends there. Some other people, of course, mentioned. Now, one stat I do like is Isaac's passing stat.
There you go.
That one's tough to beat.
Perfection. 1 for 1.
One pass for 85 yards for a touchdown. There you go.
That was something we put on extra. We kind of added that this past week. Everybody loads the box as soon as they see him in the backfield. Everybody we play is going to put, they're going to load the box, put everybody they can to stop the run. But the kid could be our quarterback. He's a good enough athlete where he could go take every snap if we needed him to. And so he throws the ball as well as anybody. And this past week in practice when we put the pass on, we put a little pop on, and the first time he threw it, we snapped the ball over his head and he dribbled it off the ground. But when he finally caught the ball, he threw a strike. I mean, it looked like an NFL type throw. I mean, it hit Jeff Foreman in stride. He caught the ball, and I was like, holy moly, what can this guy not do? He can do it all. So we can make all kinds of throws. We're gonna open up that package a little bit more. So make that one of our another weapon for us.
Well, a little something to come out for this Friday night. Rushing wise, some notes. Tyus Mesner, he just keeps running and running. 359 yards for the season and 4 touchdowns on it. So nice job there. B.J. Mukes, 219 yards with a couple of touchdowns. Other touchdowns, rushing touchdowns mentioned. Boykins, who you said he's getting better quicker.
He is.
Great.
He's rehabbing every day, and he's trying to get out there and get back on the field as quick as possible for his senior year.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing him soon. And then, of course, Jared Wood, we mentioned earlier, is a quarterbacking threat, also a rushing one. Beverly's got 3 rushing touchdowns. And hey, not bad there. Ganther, some other rushing notes, but move over to the receiving and your big number getters there. Isaac Beverly and Jeff Foreman.
Yeah, both those guys are very explosive. Both of them have 5 touchdowns receiving. And Jeff has actually missed a game and a half. He was out for a game and 3 quarters, really. So again, when Isaac's over there and Jeff's not on the field, people can do whatever. They can put 2 or 3 over him if they want. When Jeff's on the field, it kind of takes that away a little bit more. You got to kind of pick your poison. I look at it as a defensive coordinator. What would I do if I had to defend both of them, and so it puts people in a bind just because now we've shown that we can run the ball as well, and now you got 2 receivers out there that can any minute go to the house, so makes it tough on people.
Yeah, Jeff was doing work on both ends of the ball there. Didn't he have an interception this last weekend?
He did. Yeah, Jeff's had a really good game. It's anytime you play corner, it's kind of the hidden numbers, but they didn't catch a ball on him. He had an interception. He had 3 or 4 pass breakups. And then he had the big plays in the receiving department. I think he had 208 yards this past week and 3 touchdowns. So big game for him. And
now I could see after Jeff had scored a touchdown, he can probably jump out of the gym. They like to do the jump and bump the backs, and he looked like he had a few feet of vertical there as he.
Yeah, he's got a good vertical. He can get off the floor, and he's got a brother. It's a twin. They both can get off the floor a little bit. They're both very explosive, so they're definitely athletic.
Yeah, we could tell when he went running by us a couple times.
When last year when I was looking into this job, I was going through the process. I actually came up and watched some playoff basketball. They played Durant, I guess, in the first round.
Durant here at regionals.
At regionals played Durant, and I was looking at those guys, and then I was seeing, oh man, hey, look at this kid, and I was going through their huddle, looking to see who all played football, and that was all of them. All those guys play multiple sports. That's one of the things I think we do a really good job here is share our kids and really encourage them to do more than just one thing, and don't just specialize. Be good at everything and compete year round. That's what our guys do. So
well, and you're going and playing basketball will benefit your football game and vice versa because you use different muscles in those processes and balances you out. One of the now is Jeff a junior or
a junior?
Great. Well, that's exciting for even next year. So some other things we want to mention real quickly, some defensive stats here, and we'll drop some of the bigger names on you here. We've seen Miles Wooten return to interception for a touchdown. Kyron Williams, tell us a little more about what Kyron does up front.
Kyron's he's a big dude. He's a big body. He's an athletic kid. He's another basketball guy, and he's a young talent. I think when it's all said and done, he could be, sky's the limit for him because he does have the physical tools. He's a hard worker. He's a get it done guy. He's easy to coach. He tries to do what we tell him to do, and I think once he really buys into that weight room and getting bigger and getting stronger, I think he's going to be. He's going to be an animal. So he brings lots to the table.
Yeah, he was a freshman for us, played a little bit for us on varsity last year as a freshman. Great. But he's definitely a nice specimen of a young man. Like he said, once he gets hooked up in that weight room, sky's the limit for that guy. Good kid.
And since y'all have done coaching, and I know you just being here mainly this year, and this is your second year here.
Correct.
But you see some of these kids, even just in the short time, they get in the weight room, they change their diet, they start putting on a little bit of bulk. What kind of things can you do? I mean, I'm sure they recognize it, but to encourage them into continuing that, I mean, I know you talk about keeping them, eating right and hydrated and those kind of things. Yeah. Is there on basketball, is there a different weight program than, say, a football program, or how do you all maybe approach that differently?
We definitely have a different approach to our weight room program of what we do. It is more of a year-long program that we do, but once we get into season, we don't lift as heavy. We may go in there 2 days a week, and then one day is more of a flexibility day, doing a lot of stretching and things like that. Because basketball, sometimes you can play up to 5 games in a week, if you have a tournament, so you got to have time to recover. But I think also it's the communication that we also have with our strength and conditioning coaches here and our other coaches when we're sharing athletes. They know once basketball's over, then we'll turn them over to football. But in the same thing with guys that are in football, we communicate with them. They'll let us know, hey, what do you want us doing with your basketball guys? So I've been in a couple schools, and it's always work. I think a lot of it is just your relationships with your other coaches and communication with your coaches. And as long as that works, the kids understand we're all on the same page, and then they'll buy in and things work itself out.
Great. That's it's good to hear that you can share ball players, because I'm sure there's my uncle used to tell me, he's like that football coach wouldn't let him play baseball, didn't want him playing basketball his senior year. He was like, no, you could play basketball your senior year, but he still could play baseball because I guess it was late enough in the year that he had the summer to heal. So I remember him telling me stuff like that. Talk a little bit about Javon West.
Javon's another guy that's going to be – he's a junior, so we'll have him again next year. He's a guy that gets better every single week. He's kind of your tough guy in there as far as our linebacker crew go. He's an inside guy, and he's a thumper. I mean, we talk about pluggers, and he sees a gap. He's downhill, and he's in it in a hurry. He's fun to coach. He's a good kid. He's also a multi-sport guy, plays baseball. So, fun kid to be around and tough. That whole linebacker crew has really led us. I mean, if you look at our point production, most of it's coming from the linebackers. Between Anthony Goodlow, he's our top point guy. Jamari Ayers is another one of our inside linebackers. Leandre Turner, one of the top point getters. He's our other outside linebacker. And then Javon. So, they're the top 4. And then Isaac is up there as well with those guys too. And Isaac's somewhat of a linebacker as well at times for us. So, our linebacker crew, they're fun to coach.
And I think I saw maybe he got his foot stepped on or something, but I saw Leandre coming off the field at one point, and he had just a slight hitch to his giddy up, and I'm like, well, he's faster than me with a limp.
He did run fast. We actually talked to him about that, but he started to cramp up a little bit there at the very end, and one of the kids we put in is a kid named Amani Knight. He's one of our Stuco leadership kids, and he was ready to go. And he's one of those guys that he prepares every week like he's going to be the starter, and he hasn't started a game yet, but he's on every single special team. He's always ready to roll. He's played a little bit of running back for us when we needed him, but he came in and he actually gave us a spark. Came off the edge and got after the quarterback. That was really fun to see.
That was good. We mentioned, of course, Jeff Foreman out there doing some damage as well. And now defensive line, those guys who have to get down there and plug the holes.
My kind of guys.
Yeah. Who else have you seen that here recently has been just on that ball?
Well, Mike Pope all year long. I mean, if you look at his point production chart there, he's at 123. He's actually up there with all the linebackers. And linebackers always, when you go to this chart, they always always have the most points. But Mike's right there in the middle with all those guys because he's so dominant up front. I mean, he is a motor guy. He gets off the football and he will get up injured chili in a hurry. So he is fun to watch. This past week, and if you look at the biggest stat on him, if you look at his tackles for a loss, he's got 13 of them on the season. So that means he's behind the line of scrimmage all the time. He lives in people's backfield. So
yeah.
He's going to have a chance. He'll be a guy that'll have a chance to go play some college football. Who else we got up front here? Let me look at my handy-dandy chart. Taylor Messner's another guy that's had a really good season for us. He's a senior. We got some young guys up front that I think are going to be really good on our JV. I think we've got a future in our defensive line. It's those guys are going to be fun to coach here over the next couple years.
Well, that'll be great. And I've certainly seen Victor up there. He's a large cat. Yeah,
Victor's a football player.
And as well, he seems like there was a guy he tackled at Western Heights, and then he picked him back up and set him on his feet. It was pretty impressive. Like, oh well.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Just hugs out here. Just hugs.
This at the beginning of the year when we got his cleats in, he ordered some cleats and they got sent to the school. I remember opening the box and it looked like Sasquatch.
Yeah, I've seen
cleats.
those.
And I was like, whose are these? And that said Victor Price on the side. I was like, good Lord, he still might be growing.
Yeah, he might be 6 inches taller come next year. Now, of course, you're talking about grading things out. See, football more than just showing up and playing a game. You actually get grades here on these things. So you can't just show up and get your what do you call the guy who's just there for the meal?
Chicken fry guy.
Chicken fry guy. Now moving on, we got to talk a little bit about homecoming week. It is the big time to eagle up, show your Eagle spirit.
Oh, that's the Eagle sore there.
And they take on the Duncan Demons. And I believe they're 3-3 so far this year. Yep. I believe they're 0-2 away, which there's a builder, but 3-1 at home. So certainly a decent team to have to take on. They've had some big wins. They beat Sapulpa, but then lost to PC West and Shawnee. Came back big against Southeast, and then lost to Altus, and then beat Western Heights. So
so you see, football's week to week. It's all about matchups, and you never really can just go look at scores and say, well, they got beat by Altus by this much, but then they beat Western Heights by this much. You can't really look at it like that. It's really about matchups, and we match up well with each other. I mean, they've got some tough, strong kids. They get after it on defense. Offensively, they'll grind it out on you. They're pretty good with their option stuff, and they're also pretty good with their power game. So, they make you defend quite a bit of things. You got to, again, pick your poison, figure out what they do best, and figure out what you need to stop. So they do a good job. Coach Benson has been there for a few years now, and he's got everything rolling there. And like I said, they've got some big wins. Those are 6A teams that they're beating there early. And
Sapulpa's generally not slouchy at football. They
usually hold their own. So then PC West, they run a new scheme offensively.
That was a point really difference good.
There. So, they've been in games. They haven't been blown out by anybody. They've been in every single one of them. They play hard. They're gonna be a tough challenge.
Now, and I know they kind of spread it out. They run some options, some different things like that. So certainly they're going to be fun to watch as a football team, at least in that sense. And then we've seen the big playabilities coming out of the Del City team. So certainly a fun time. Invite everybody out to Robert Calsu, 7 p.m. Is there any theme of we need to wear red, white, pink, any of those?
Red and white always works over here with us. We're good with that. But it's Marvel superhero night or something like that. I think kids are wearing capes and maybe a homecoming shirt, I think, is what the Eagles Nest is doing.
Nice.
But I've been on Facebook talking to some alumni. The band is having alumni come out, and they're actually going to play with
that'd be great.
with the band. And so I was trying to rally up some of the band, the older band members that I knew about putting on your capes and putting on your mask and getting out there and superheroing up. So
sounds like a good time.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Well, it's fun that the cape is now a more welcome accessory at school. Back in my day, the kids that wore capes, well, they kind of got teased. We'll just say. I'm like, what do you got on there? Well, it's cape weather. It's cooled off a bit. Some other things now, moving in, of course, we got all the fun with the homecoming. They'll be naming the kings and the queens and all of that. But in the meantime, you've been practicing basketball, I suppose, and getting ready for that. What all of you all been doing so far?
We finished up a really good preseason. I thought our guys really got after it. And, we were on the track probably, almost every day, running miles and also weight rooms in the morning. So I was real pleased with preseason. We started official practice October 1st, and our guys really got after it. We're going on week 2. Like I said, we got our first scrimmage November 4th that we're going to host. It's a big, we call it the Big Eagles Nest scrimmage. We'll have about 14 teams coming over here, and it's kind of a good little fundraiser for us, and also an early enough scrimmage just to get the guys that we've been having in the gym kind of get a little, get some reps and some experience. So it's going to be here before we know it, but we're excited. And I like the direction that our guys are going, especially our young group that we got, and we got some really good seniors with Isaac and Anthony Goodlow that are returning that'll come in and give us some leadership when they get done.
Yeah, definitely. I can remember even Goodlow's sister a few years back was a basketball player. So if he's half the basketball player she is, I think they'll be all right.
They're a family of athletes. He actually got a younger brother, Nate Goodlow, which was a freshman for us. It started for us last year. So he's a sophomore, and he's setting the tone. So we got a good mix of kids, from seniors, juniors, and sophomores, and even some freshmen that could maybe open up some eyes this year too, depending on how they work. So we're excited. We're excited the direction that all of our programs are going, and it always starts with the head man over there, with old Coach Dunn. So long as he keeps doing what he's doing, I'm excited.
Now he is gonna have to. Now when will the state championship game? So we can go ahead and figure out the day after when Isaac will be.
December 2nd, I believe.
Okay.
It's always that first weekend in December.
So they might have to miss that first game or so there. But
here's the deal: if they get into that state championship, my whole team will be on the bus and we'll be there cheering them on.
Yeah.
Just like we will always do anywhere else. So we're excited. We want them to play as long and play as far as they can, try to win a gold ball, because this school and this community could definitely deserves it. And we've got the athletes to do it. I definitely believe in that as well.
Yes, if you've not been out to see Del City in person, at least football-wise, Isaac Beverly walks on air. Jeff Foreman is electric. Tyus Messner is an Energizer bunny. Ganther's back there, and he's just whipping it around this last game. So
it's starting to come together. That's what I was telling one of the old alumni today. I was telling him, hey, it's homecoming. Make sure you're here Friday. He was a big-time football player here, played at Oklahoma State. But I told him, hey, it's starting to come together. We're putting it together. Our kids are starting to figure it out. They're figuring out what we want at practice. They're figuring out what we want as far as our mentality, and it's getting better every day. So it's been fun to watch the transformation.
That's great. Well, guys, any other closing thoughts before we wind this up?
Thank you for having me.
Hey, we appreciate it. Again, Coach Hatchett joined us, head coach basketball team, and we'll be looking forward to seeing him some coming up in these cooler months, and we move to the indoor sports. And again, Coach Mike Dunn, we appreciate you. Happy first homecoming.
Yeah.
Here at Del City. Hallmark doesn't have happy homecoming cards.
No?
Yeah.
Did you look?
Yeah, we didn't know what to get you. So
I stay with them jackets.
Hey, we'll work on that. It is special order. You got to have a guy. Again, for big thanks to Brad Reed, our program director, and all the wonderful sponsors that make this possible. Until next time, we'll see you this Friday night out at Robert Kalsu Stadium. It's homecoming, and they take on the Duncan Demons. Go and cheer on your Eagles. It's time to eagle up here in Del City. We'll talk to you next time. I'm Cody Sparks.
The Del City Coaches Show is a DC Eagle Vision production. Get all the latest coaches shows and game broadcasts by subscribing to our YouTube page. Follow us on Twitter at DC Eagle Vision and like us on Facebook at Del City Eagle Vision.